Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
We often hear about the problem where somebody goes into a car dealership, special orders a car, puts some money down. The car comes in and the dealership sells it to somebody else. Happens a lot. I have read in my life hundreds, if not thousands, of purchase agreements at automobile dealerships. And they quite often say that we're special ordering the car for you, you're putting some money down, that guarantees us that you'll take delivery of it when it comes in. But buried elsewhere in the contract, it often says, however, we can sell the car to anybody we want. And all we got to do then is give you back your deposit. And so a lot of people get upset when this happens, and I think rightfully so. But the interesting thing about that is it puts the dealership in a can't-lose situation if you simply read the document. Because if the vehicle comes in and it's a dog, well, they can make you take it or they get to keep your money. However, if the vehicle comes in, suddenly it's hot and they can sell it for a premium to somebody else, they often will. And I've seen it before where they'll actually get the vehicle in and say, oh, we got the vehicle in, but we want more money now than what you thought it was going to cost. Now, this will vary wildly from state to state, as I like to say. However, this story I'm going to tell you about, Barry sent me a note and said, Steve, check this out, from NBC San Diego in California. Man says dealer sold his custom-ordered truck after waiting a year for delivery. And so the general manager claims that that one was a mistake. But interestingly, the TV station found two people who had this happen to them at different dealers, and it is a problem that I've heard about many times before. So Sergio Flores wrote this and says that although more people have been custom ordering vehicles online since the pandemic, dealers say that doing so comes with risks, which is a lesson two NBC7 and Telemundo 20 Response viewers learned the hard way. And they're very upset about this. After a year of waiting for his Ford Maverick, a man from Ocean Beach ended with someone else driving the truck off the lot. They told me there was a mistake and they had sold my vehicle to a preferred customer. So he told NBC7 that he had enjoyed choosing all the customizable options back in April of last year. Little things to make it mine. Little things that I knew I would like down the road that would be easier to spec in now than to try to do it later. And, you know, a lot of people do go car shopping and simply buy a car off the lot, even brand new. My dad was one of those guys back in the old days who would go in and special order a car. He didn't buy a new car every year, but he got a new car every few years. And he loved convertibles. He had an Impala convertible. He had a Catalina convertible. He had a Grandville convertible. And so, I mean, I remember the cars vividly. And my dad would go into a dealership and he'd get the literature, bring the literature home. I remember watching my dad at the dining room table, looking at the literature, going, okay, this engine combination and this interior package and this color scheme. And you get all the stuff you'd want. And you go back to the dealership and special order it. Car would come in, he'd bring it home, is exactly what he ordered. Now, the weird thing is, in my life, I've bought a bunch of brand new cars, and until very recently, I'd never special ordered a car where I'd actually gone, okay, I want this. I simply told a dealership, here's what I'm looking for. And they found one on their lot, but I wasn't so specific about the little things that you can do. I mentioned a while back that I've special ordered a car. It has not come in yet. Originally, it had a delivery date of June of this year, and June is now behind us, and I don't have the car yet. I'm not worried about it. I know where the car is. It's being built. So one of these days, I will make an announcement. I'll have video of it and all that. But I know how fun it can be to special order a car, because I've done that now. So the man told NBC7 he went to the Ford dealership in Pacific Beach, placed the order, and gave a $500 deposit, and then waited for his new truck. About a year later, he got a notification telling him the pickup was finally on its way. He said he tracked his order from day one until it was delivered to the dealership. He called the dealership right away, but they couldn't find his truck. Can't find your truck. Now, when a dealership says they can't find your truck, they know where it went. It's not like it was stolen. They didn't call the police and go, hey, we're missing a truck. They told him we can't find it, just to buy some time to get their stories straight. When they finally figured out what happened, he was told it had already been sold. And they told the TV station, general manager of the dealership did, unfortunately, it was a mistake that we made. Immediately when we found out that we had made a mistake, I reached out to him, and I hope we could rectify it for him and get him the truck of his dreams, and we're still working on that. So maybe he can special order another one and he'll have it next year. Maybe, who knows? Dare to dream. The dealership explained that the truck was mistakenly placed with the stock inventory and not the special orders, and it was sold. But paperwork follows these trucks. So all somebody had to do was say, a truck came in that's been special ordered, put that paperwork aside so it doesn't accidentally get sold. Over at another Ford dealership, something similar happened, according to another NBC7 viewer, who custom ordered a Maverick straight from the corporate website without going to a dealership. He simply went onto the Ford website and built his truck there, and they said, okay, we'll deliver this to a local dealer where you can take delivery of it. So he told NBC7 that his truck arrived the week of May 15th, and when it did, the corporate office notified him and said you should wait a little while before picking it up so the dealership can check it and clean it. See, they get really dirty. He said he called 2 weeks later and found the truck had already been sold to someone else. So the dealership told NBC7 that it tried to get in touch with the man once the vehicle arrived, but he never responded. So they sold the truck. So they're blaming him and saying he never got back to us. Now, NBC7 Response asked how and when they contacted the customer, and the dealership refused to answer. That's their words, not mine. They refused to answer. They confirmed they're giving him the $5,000 they made on the sale as a goodwill gesture. So they claim they're going to kick him $5,000 for his troubles. But although Ford dealerships are independent businesses, Ford Motor Company will work with its dealer network to make sure they're aware of customer issues. Most times when dealers become aware of issues, they work with customers to quickly rectify them. They understand the importance of delivering an industry-leading customer sales and ownership experience, they say. So here's what these TV stations say you should know. Before you do this process, visit the dealership to lock down the price before custom ordering. Remember, an online order is non-binding until both parties have signed off on a price. However, I've seen purchase agreements that say, here's the price of the vehicle, and if it comes in, you agree to buy it unless we sell it to somebody else. The wait time can be about a year on certain vehicles, so be ready to be patient. I laugh because I'm currently waiting on a vehicle, and when it gets here, I will know, and then I will take care of that. Keep track of the order, the build, and delivery of the vehicle. And by the way, the one guy says that Ford told him to wait before contacting the dealership. Since he hadn't dealt with the dealership before, but only dealt with Ford, I personally think he should have called the dealership and said, just to let you guys know, I special ordered a vehicle from Ford a year ago. It's going to be delivered to your dealership for delivery to me. Here's my contact information. And I don't know the vehicle's there yet, but it's headed that way according to the Ford website. Therefore, here's my information. Got it? Got it. Make sure to stay in contact with the dealership as you get closer to the delivery date. Meanwhile, over at the first Ford dealership, the man there said the dealership will hold a custom-ordered vehicle for about 3 days, as it costs them money each day they have it on their lot. Costs, of course, are fees from corporate, insurance, taxes, and, of course, that floor plan financing if they got that. The car also takes up a spot where they could place another vehicle up for sale. He said they will always work with customers with unforeseen circumstances that may prevent them from picking up their vehicle in those 72 hours. He gives examples of people in the service, for instance, saying that if you're in the service, they will hang on to your car. As for the man whose car was sold, they said they're still working with him to try to set things right. No one should feel like this when they're trying to get a new vehicle. And the man says, this is a quote, "It sucks." Meanwhile, dealership guy says it's not unusual for people to change their minds about a vehicle by the time the order is delivered. If there is no purchase agreement, the customer is not required to buy it. The dealer is then stuck with that vehicle. But of course, they would get to keep that deposit, right? In this particular case, they said at the time of the report, they had 87 vehicles on their lot that they were waiting to find out about with respect to buyers. So don't know how likely that is to have 87 vehicles that were custom ordered. I don't know if that's quite what the guy was saying, but that's what that reads like. I can tell you that things like this have happened various times in our recent history. So COVID caused problems, but I remember a couple of different vehicles that came out that were so hot when they came out that there were people clamoring to buy them. And one I can think of was when the more modern T-Bird came out, little sports car looking T-Bird, Thunderbird from Ford. And when the first one came out of the more recent iteration, this is more than a decade ago, but I'm talking about there was the old school T-Bird and they revived it. The revived T-Bird was so hot that they knew instantly they were going to sell them out. And when they first announced the new T-Bird was coming out and they'd shown pictures of it in the press and so on, people went to dealerships and said, I'd like to buy one. And there was a case out of Detroit, and the reason I know so much about the case is that a friend of mine actually defended the dealership on this one. And they took $1,000 from a guy and said, yeah, the first one we get in our dealership, it's yours. Here's the paperwork and give us $1,000. And when the first one came in, they'd had since then other people come in going, I'll pay you more than sticker price. And they realized, ooh, we're not going to get an endless supply of these cars. And I got people now who want to pay over sticker. That first guy at $1,000 down, he wants sticker price. So they told that guy, you're out of luck unless you want to negotiate and perhaps bid against these other people. And the guy said, I don't have to. I got a signed document right here. It says that I gave you $1,000 towards the vehicle. So the first vehicle came in, they sold it to somebody else. So he sued him. And the dealership went to court and said that purchase agreement's not really a purchase agreement. It's actually an agreement to negotiate a purchase. It's an agreement to agree. And I seem to recall in that case, the dealership actually won because they had all that weasel language in there about, well, you're required to buy this vehicle if it comes in and we ask you to. However, if we want to back out, we can just give you your $1,000 back. And so you got to be real careful, but you got to read these documents. And when you see how lopsided they are, you'll realize that many instances you may not have a way to get back on this. However, the guy who orders the vehicle through the corporate website has a much better case because when he orders it to the corporate website and the corporate website simply says, we're going to send your vehicle here for delivery to you. It seems to me the guy can make the argument that, yeah, that's my vehicle there. But both of these dealerships are trying to do things to make this right. And why are they doing that? Because a TV station showed up and started asking questions. That's why they're doing it. So Barry, thanks for sending it. I know the people over at Jalopnik did a great write-up on this also. And I love jalopnik.com. But Sergio Flores wrote this for NBC San Diego. Man says dealer sold his custom-ordered truck after waiting a year for delivery. Dealership said, hey, mistakes were made. But another guy came forward with a shockingly similar story about another Ford product. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Quick, you've got to hide me from PBS. Their bloodthirsty pursuit is made possible by a grant from the Chubb Group.